Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We are here at Matchless Gifts again because this is one of our favorite places on the whole planet. And we love to come here and read and be in the presence and feel Srila Prabhupada's presence. And just before the camera started rolling, we were just having a good moan. To Prabhupada, of course. So Prabhupada can hear it anyway. Because sometimes you just need to have a good whinge, you know. Okay, but we're here to read the Bhagavatam, and we're not going to have a whinge with all of you, so.
Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 46.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Just trying to get out of that frame, but never mind. Text 46. The Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras eat their food by virtue of the Brahmanas' mercy. It is the Brahmanas who enjoy their own property, clothe themselves with their own property, and give charity with their own property. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped with the words Namo Brahmanya Devaya, which indicate that the Supreme Lord accepts the Brahmanas as worshipable gods. The Supreme Lord is worshipped by everyone, yet to teach others he worships the Brahmanas. Everyone should follow the instructions of the Brahmanas, for their only business is to spread Shabda Brahma, or Vedic knowledge, all over the world. Wherever there is a scarcity of Brahmanas to spread Vedic knowledge, chaos throughout human society results. Since Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are direct servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they do not depend on others. In actuality, everything in the world belongs to the Brahmanas, and out of their humility, the Brahmanas accept charity from the Kshatriyas or kings and the Vaishyas or merchants. Everything belongs to the Brahmanas, but the Kshatriya government and the mercantile people keep everything in custody like bankers, and whenever the Brahmanas need money, the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas should supply it. It is like a savings account with money which the depositor can draw out at his will. The Brahmanas, being engaged in the service of the Lord, have very little time to handle the finances of the world, and therefore the riches are kept by the Kshatriyas or the kings,
Who are to produce
money upon the Brahmanas' demand. Actually, the Brahmanas or Vaishnavas do not live at others' cost. They live by spending their own money, although it appears that they are collecting their own money. Although it appears they are collecting this money from others. Kshatriyas and Vaishyas have no right to give charity, for whatever they possess belongs to the Brahmanas. Therefore, charity should be given by the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas under the instructions of the Brahmanas. Unfortunately, at the present moment, there is a scarcity of Brahmanas, and since the so-called Kshatriyas and Vaishyas do not carry out the orders of the Brahmanas, the world is in a chaotic condition. Well, isn't that the truth?
condition chaos.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't it that you're trying... Isn't it in America you're trying to separate...
Church from state?
Yeah.
Or different colored people, or different genders of people? I don't
No,
know.
God.
Yeah, church from state, it's called.
But isn't it on the...
Yep.
On the notes it says in
God
God?
we trust.
So why is that?
Because they don't trust in God anymore.
It's crazy.
Trust in money. You can't trust that anymore either, because it's not backed up by anything except some fake numbers stuck in it somewhere in somebody's head or something.
Yeah. Like, it's a very sad state of affairs. I don't know if you guys have seen that. This 18-year-old boy called Gukesh. I might have got his name wrong. I hope not, because he deserves to be called by the right name. He's from Tamil Nadu in India. And he's won the world championships in chess. And he's the youngest person to ever do it. He's a world champion. It's a big thing. And He's from Tamil Nadu, and when he finished playing, so the cameras, I don't know how to play chess, but if you're in that, it's a major thing. It's all over the news and that. When he finished playing, they showed. He had I think it's called vibhuti. When you put the ash on the head, and he prayed to his playing field. That's how it was reported. The chess board was his playing field, and he paid his respects. Even though everyone else was freaking out, like, oh my God. First of all, he won, but second, he's the youngest. And he was very calm and Dira. And then he started to put the pieces back, and someone tried to kind of stop him, like, dude, you won, man, let's get up. And the camera, there's so much media, but he's, he was respectful. And it was explaining that he respected his art, his playing field, and he paid his respects. He kind of looked up and did that. And then there was another lady in the Olympics, I believe, from India. So this boy, this Gukesh, he said his parents are doctors in Tamil Nadu, very high up, senior, like in physicians, whatever. They brought him up, he said, hearing Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and he said it always stayed with him, and what he took away from that was faith and conviction to do the right thing, but in relation to God. And then this young lady who was in the Olympics recently in Paris, I don't remember what medal she won, like bronze, gold, silver, but she cited the Bhagavad Gita and said, I take great strength from this, that you just do what you need to do and leave the rest to God, The reason I'm bringing it up is, I thought it was very inspiring. The reason I'm bringing it up is because, unfortunately, especially in certain factors in India, they're deriding that. In India, almost like they're embarrassed that you guys are on the world stage, because it's big accolade, for what they've done. Why are you bringing that up? Why are you bringing the gods? Keep
God out of it.
Yeah, it was really interesting, as opposed to being like, yeah, we did it, and people are looking at us and, Hare Krishna, well, I don't want to say Hare Krishna, but whatever, but it's like there was a certain level of, I'm not saying everyone, but there was a certain level of people that were like, why are you saying that? And God didn't get you there. Yeah, just an embarrassment to connect, to acknowledge God. So I don't know, just I was just reading this, like, in terms of, it's like more now, now it's separate, when we're reading, like you're listening to Mahabharata and you got the Ramayana and this, it's God is, and the Brahmanas who are advising on spiritual matters are very much present when we read, but that is not Shastra.
That's not the case in modern day.
Yeah, like there's them even more. Okay, quick point. Sorry, no, because I find it inspiring. People do this now. Another lady, she's from America, from New Jersey actually, and she won several gold medals in the Olympics. And why she stood out, because she's a Christian, and she says all glories to the Lord, and she's, whatever I have in this ability is because of the Lord. And she's like a legend in her field, young, in the mid-20s. And before she starts, she'll say a quick prayer. And when she finishes, and she always wins. She always wins her races. And she wins, she gets a world record. And for the last 6 years, she's beat her own world record. So that's pretty amazing. But when the camera goes on her and she stops, she also... and you can see it, she mouths it, thank you God. She says that, which I think is so like, and what's interesting, when that coverage was going on, because she was in the Olympics as well, representing America, a lot of news stations were cutting that part of it. So not all the news stations showed the part where she acknowledged God, and they went on to, where did she go to see her family, her husband, her parents, and that, in the crowd, whatever. And it was interesting, that was also brought up and kind of criticized that. Some people didn't like that she does that, but some people also criticizing, well, why would you remove that?
Yeah.
It was interesting, that it was actually people finding it offensive. So it's interesting, Prabhupada, I think it'll be chaos. It'll be chaotic. People just don't get it. It's quite sad where we're going.
Yeah, it's like, so this whole thing, we separate church from state because, as soon as you bring God up, it creates too many differences in opinion. But actually, real God followers, God believers, they they can find things to unify them with others. It's often the politics that creates the issues and the problems. But it's not just that I believe in this God, you believe in that God. There can be only one God. But, even if you say that, then people are like, no, the God that, so it can be a very, it's like they say, don't bring up politics or don't bring up religion, in conversations with people, because it often can lead to arguments and fights. But anyway. But in the name of doing that, what they do is they slowly move God completely out of the picture. Okay, I'll read the last paragraph. The second line of this verse indicates that the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras eat only by virtue of the Brahmanas' mercy. In other words, they should not eat anything which is forbidden by the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas know what to eat, and by their personal example, they do not eat anything which is not offered first to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They eat only prasad, or remnants of the food offered to the Lord. The Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras should eat only Krishna prasad, which is afforded them by the mercy of the Brahmanas. They cannot open slaughterhouses and eat meat, fish, or eggs, or drink liquor, or earn money for this purpose without authorization. In the present age, because society is not guided by Brahminical instruction, the whole population is only absorbed in sinful activities. Consequently, everyone is deservedly being punished by the laws of nature. This is the situation in this age of Kali. So interesting, basically on the back of what you were just saying, because there is this kind of tendency for godlessness, then people won't be guided by dharmic principles. They would prefer to be guided by a person who knows business, or knows how. Most people want to be guided by how to make money, which is interesting, because I was just hearing something, I think in the Mahabharata this morning, about this idea, this principle of how everyone, charity. Lord, or Yudhisthira Maharaj, he asked, I think it was Vyasadeva, which is more difficult or more important, charity or penance, or austerity, because both of them are recommended for spiritual advancement. And Vyasadeva said, charity is more difficult. He said, because people do so much to make money, to gather Lakshmi, to create wealth, that it's then so hard for them to give it away. So therefore, to give in charity is much, much more of a greater sacrifice than just performing personal austerity or personal penance, so like that. So, we see that people are driven by, they don't want to hear from someone who may suggest a dharmic approach or a spiritual approach or a religious approach. We say like that, but at least in America, there are many people who believe in God, whereas if you go to somewhere like France, evidently predominant population is atheistic. I was just sitting with a young lady the other day during a festival that we had here, and I was asking her about her background, and she was from Shanghai. And she said, no, it was completely brought up, complete atheistic society, complete atheistic, no belief, no. In fact, she said, we're taught in school there is no God. And I thought, wow, that is powerful. I mean, of course, they're trying to do that here by not talking about God at all, but there they directly say that there is no God. This is fictitious, mythical ideas that are made up. But somehow she wound up going to some sort of a Christian, church camp. And they were talking lots about God. And she came back from that feeling that, there is a God. And she said that from that point, I just started praying. In the evenings, before I would go to bed, I would pray to God. And she's like, and I didn't know who that God was, but I just... immediately it ignited this understanding in me that there is a God. Later, she's gone on to become a devotee. But yeah, it's very interesting that there are societies that exist that are completely atheistic. Now, of course, having heard all your stuff about the Olympic people, there are also many Olympic people who are winning races that don't believe in God or don't praise God. You know? All the chess champions previously, you know. So it's an interesting thing because we get excited through our lens of vision that, oh, this chess champion, you know, and of course, you know, he's like, whether he's Christian or Hindu or what, you know, whatever, but we get excited because they're doing what we do. But, you know, let us not forget that there are also plenty of atheists who are winning chess matches and Olympic medals, you know. So sometimes the argument is there, so who cares? But the point isn't whether I win or whether I don't win, or if you're with God, you'll always win. That's not the point.
No. Yeah, I agree, no.
Yeah. The point, I agree, no. I agree, yes, is usually the way to go. I agree, no.
I was actually noting a question.
But the point is that why they're glorious is because when they win,
yes,
then they offer homage to God. But
yes.
Even now, there's another person, and his name just went out of my mind. If you know his name, is famous tennis player. I think it was the first black body tennis player.
Billie Jean? No.
No, it's a man. And it wasn't Billie Jean. That's Michael Jackson's famous song.
There was Billie Jean.
Sorry.
Billie Jean tennis player.
Huh?
There is a tennis player called Billie Jean.
Yeah, but it's a woman and she's white.
Oh.
So anyway, I clarified that. Some of you will know who I'm talking about. He was famous, I think, in the late 70s, early 80s. He won like big tournament. So there's a famous statement by him that, because he later developed, I think, cancer or AIDS even, because I think he had some surgery and he had a blood transfusion and they put blood that had AIDS in it. But anyway, someone wrote him a letter and said, you know, you don't deserve to die. Why is God doing this to you? And he made this very bold statement that when I won the Wimbledon Cup and I was kissing that cup, I was offering it to God. God helped me to win. He said, and now God is arranging for me to die also. So I saw God then and I see God now. So it's not that just I see God when I'm winning or I use God as a mechanism for which I become prosperous. That's not the point. The point is that the people can have faith and respect in God and offer God homage and live their life God-centered and be successful and or lose, but still compete and play. You know, so it's just a powerful and interesting point. The point here is that society should have God in the center and should be led by persons who are aligned with the consciousness of God. And they should be directing the other people, not the other way around, which is basically what's happening. And therefore you get chaotic situation. Of course, we could argue that the Mahabharata is also a pretty chaotic situation. And there was lots of God and everything.
That's true. Krishna was literally
and God
there.
was personally present.
And it was all crazy.
Yeah. So
Krishna.
But that's a bigger conversation.
Yeah, what's that all about, Krishna?
Anyway, we've talked a lot today over a short purport, and but we hope you found it nice. If you like this, you can give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Come see, come sa.
Don't give us a thumbs down.
Don't do us a thumbs down because she'll just delete it anyway.
I love it.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in to Bhagavatam Bites. Grantaraya Srimad Bhagavatam Ki.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Tago Premanandi.
There you go.